Hi again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of First Person, sponsored by the Crystal Room, the event center in Troy at I-75 and Route 55. Events Perfected is their motto for any event, whatever size, banquets, reunions, weddings, whatever it is. You'll find the facilities, the staff, the expertise, and most of all, the convenience to make your event a perfect one every time. In fact, that's their motto, Events Perfected. Check them out, give them a call, and schedule your next event with the Crystal Room, I-75 and 55 by Kroger's in Troy. In Covington, Ohio today to talk about one of the really good, feel-good stories of the 2014 football season. This young man to my right is well known now for the fact of setting all kinds of outstanding career records during his 4 years at Covington High School, 7,500 yards, scoring records, and yet graduated in 2013 without a lot of publicity or a lot of attention from Division I college football recruiters. We're talking about Ouellette, and by now everybody knows that AJ walked on at Ohio University last year, not only made that team, but earned a scholarship before camp was out, went out, gained 800 yards, led the team in rushing, led the team in rushing touchdowns, 10 touchdowns on the season overall, and really opened a lot of eyes as far as the kids like you who want to walk on and have that dream, that opportunity of playing at the next level. Congratulations on doing that. It's great to see, and thanks for sharing your time here.
Well, thank you.
AJ, I think a lot has been said, and I don't want to go into the business about how the recruiting process failed you or fails players like you. And for what you did at Covington. But I don't think enough is said about the fact that there are so many kids like you who grow up with a dream, and how you fulfilled that dream for a lot of them last year, or at least opened the door, stuck your foot in the door and said, hey, if I can do this, you might too. And I know that must make you feel pretty proud.
Oh yeah, it makes me feel happy knowing that I help encourage people. Because I know I played with probably 10 guys that could play Division I that stopped playing the game they loved and stopped chasing their dream.
Steve Spurrier said one time that there's 1 in 1,000 walk-on football players at Division I football now who can come on and make the kind of impact, not just as a freshman, but during the course of 4 years that you made last year, where you walk on, you earn a scholarship, you earn a starting position, you lead the team in scoring and rushing touchdowns, 1 in 1,000. But I know you don't believe that. In fact, we've talked about that before. There were kids that you played with here at Covington that you felt like could have walked on and made an impact.
Yep. Yeah, I do not believe that. I'm still told that now. I went to a camp at OU this summer, and a guy told me that he's never seen a guy walk on and start that soon. And I basically told him because the kids that are told that they can't stop chasing, and they just don't try.
It happened almost a year to the date we're sitting here talking, because I know next week you go back to school and go back to camp, and that all gets started and wrapped up for the 2015 season. But I want you to talk a little bit about the moment that you realized when you got there, you walk on, the odds are against you, they hand you the pads and your helmet, you go on and say, show us what you got. When was the moment last summer about this time when you realized, 1, I belong here, 2, I can play, and 3, I'm going to make this team?
When I first got there, it was all about speed because all we had on was helmets. But when I actually realized that I belonged is when, like, second week of camp, we threw the pads on, and everybody started hitting, and I was still standing, not sore. I mean, I just love it. So that's when I knew I was going to be there.
A lot of that credit for the fact that you said, I'm standing there and I'm not sore, has to go back to your roots here in Covington and the guy you played for. And I know your relationship with your coach here, Coach Miller, is very strong and very deep, and I know you give him a lot of credit for preparing you for that.
Oh yeah, he pushed me to the max every time. I mean, during practice we had 2 guys in red jerseys, no one was allowed to block. Their job was to hit me every play. I mean, I was taking beatings in practice, but it just toughened me up for life only.
I also want to talk a little bit about, I want you to tell the story about how you got number 45, and a little bit about how it relates to your head coach down there, Frank Solich. Most walk-ons that I have met always tell me that their relationship with the coaching staff doesn't go beyond their position coach. And yours is Tim Allen, the running backs coach down there. But I want you to share a little bit about how your bond or relationship with Frank Solich has gone, because a guy in your position, having done what you did, has got to be in the heart and the head pretty quickly, the head football coach at a Division I program like that.
Yeah, when I first got there, I didn't talk to Coach Solich a whole lot. I mean, just if I saw him out walking, going to practice, I'd say hi and stuff like that. But once the season started, he made sure he talked to me about every day, just, you know, tell me how everything's going in classes, stuff like that. And he said he doesn't have to keep an eye on me because he knows I'm going to do the right thing. But he said he still likes to check up on me.
The story about how you got 45, because I know you went down there, and this is a pretty good story, that you had asked for 12 or maybe 23 or I don't know what all the numbers were. But Frank said, no, he reminds me of me when I walked on and made a college football team. I wanted to wear 45 because that's the number I wore. Is that true?
Yep. As far as I know, that's what the equipment managers have told me, because I asked them. They said I'd get the 3 numbers I picked. I said 12, 23, and I think 28. And I showed up, and my locker had 45 on it. And I asked why that was. He goes, that's what Coach Solich wore. And I said, okay. He goes, I said, is that what he wanted? And he goes, he didn't say anything. He just shook his head.
That's a pretty good sign you're in the man's heart and his head. Yep, he's thinking about you. AJ Ouellette, our guest this week on First Person. I want to talk a little bit about the difference in football at the level that you played here at Covington and playing in Division I. And we just talked about off camera a few minutes ago about how long that season is, not just for the fact of 12 games, but all the preparation, all the meeting time, and give people share a little bit of the capsule of what it's like, the typical day and a typical week.
Typical week, so you wake up by 6, get into lifting before all your classes start, and you go about 3 to 4 classes a day. As soon as that's over, you have to go straight to practice, get the practice done, then you're in there about 3 hours for practice, go up for about an hour of film, and then you're in for an hour of treatment. So
every day,
sun up, sundown.
Every day.
Every day.
For 12, well, more than 12 weeks.
Yeah.
But a 12 game schedule. 785 official yards last year rushing, 7 rushing touchdowns. I didn't realize this myself. I knew you'd missed a couple of games with a sprained ankle, but you didn't play the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season that much, except on special teams. You actually got those 800 yards and those 10 touchdowns in about 7 games. Had you played the entire 12 games, you'd have a pretty good shot of being in the 12, 13, 1400 yard mark.
Yeah, that just excites me for this year, I guess.
Talk a little bit about your program this year. I'll say one thing about OU football. It's very charming to go down there. It's very comfortable. It's easy to get in and out, and the High University campus is one of the prettiest in the country. I don't know if you pay attention to things like that, but it's a pretty nice place to go. Talk a little bit about your football team this year.
Well, we didn't lose it. We lost 2 safeties, and that's it. We picked up 2 great safeties, so I think we're maybe 2 notches ahead of where we were last year. So I believe the 6-6 could possibly, we win 3 more games, 4 more games out of that in the season. One
thing I did not ask you early on about walking into camp last year, but was there ever a time when you got the big eye? When you go on the road and you think, hey, I've dreamed about playing in a place, because you play some Big Ten schools. You go to some big stadiums and some places you had to dream about when you were a youngster growing up here in Covington. Did you ever get the big eye?
Kentucky was pretty sweet. Walked out on that grass, and their stadium was pretty much packed for that game, and it was pretty sweet.
I guess it goes without saying that when you look at about the next 3 years, what you did last year just as a freshman, you have to really look forward to your college career now, because there's no question in your mind that you belong there, and as you say, you're very excited to go back and do even more.
Oh yeah, it's basically how I treated high school. Now it's just that I know I'm going to be there. I know I have to keep pushing and keep working, and great things are going to come.
And you open against who?
Idaho.
On the road.
Yeah.
You ever, huh? Yeah.
Picture
right there. You ever been that far west before?
Oh, no.
Another first for AJ Ouellette.
Yeah.
Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
This is important too. You better stay healthy.
Yep, we'll do.
You know something about that.
Yeah.
That wraps up this week's first edition with AJ Ouellette, again sponsored by the Crystal Room, the event center there in Troy, at I-75 and 55, right by the Kroger Plaza on the west side on West Market Street. Events Perfected is their motto, and they'll make your next event, whatever it is, large or small, perfect. Give them a call or check them online through their ad here on PressProsMagazine.com. For the sponsors and AJ Ouellette, thanks again for your support of high school sports on Press Pros. We'll see you next time with another edition of First Person.